Emily caught sight of it, while we were at a restaurant bar, hashing out travel plans with another woman. Oh, I could see the realization dawning on her face. Yet even when confronted with evidence of his infidelity, my husband Donald refused to drop his defiant demeanor. In an instant, the foundation we'd meticulously built over 15 years crumbled. In this modern era, I found myself relegated to the role of a full-time homemaker, residing with his parents just as we had done year after year. Sacrificing the job I cherished at a publishing company where I once found fulfillment, I now spent my days shuttling between hospital visits with my parents and orchestrating meals to fit everyone's schedules. My existence mirrored that of a glorified housemaid, devoid of personal time. The only sanctuary I could claim was within the confines of our bedroom. Despite the spaciousness of our abode, I felt suffocated by the demands of this life. Yet I had chosen it willingly, driven by the desire to be by my husband's side. The thought of leaving never once crossed my mind. So when my adulterous husband nonchalantly suggested divorce, I found myself speechless, more dumbfounded than enraged. This is the tale of Sophie Johnson, turning 40 this year, bidding adieu to the husband with whom she'd shared 15 years, and embarking on a journey to rebuild her life from scratch. It all commenced 2 months prior, on the 25th, a date earmarked as payday for him, toiling away at an electronics manufacturer. Typically, his earnings would find their way into our joint account from which I managed our monthly expenses, doling out an allowance to him. However, on that fateful day, his salary failed to materialize in our shared coffers. I brushed it off initially, attributing the anomaly to a mere glitch. Yet upon his return home that evening, I broached the subject with him, only to discover that he had redirected his earnings to a personal account. "But what about our bills?" I implored, bewildered by this sudden deviation from our established routine. He shrugged off my concerns with casual indifference, assuring me that he would cover whatever expenses arose. His back turned to me, he proceeded to undress, a tangible barrier erected between us. Questions swirled within my mind. Why the secrecy? Why the sudden distrust? In our decade and a half together, we had never encountered such a breach of transparency. We had diligently saved in our joint account, rendering any delays inconsequential. Yet here we were, grappling with a rift born of financial autonomy. As I attempted to reconcile his actions with our shared history, he lashed out, his words dripping with disdain. "It's my hard-earned money," he spat, dismissing my concerns as unwarranted reproach. In the ensuing weeks, our discord intensified. His nocturnal absences grew more frequent, his excuses increasingly flimsy. The harmony we once enjoyed dissolved into acrimony, leaving me to ponder where it all went awry. As the days stretched into weeks, I found myself shouldering the blame, questioning my own inadequacies. How had a seemingly innocuous incident spiraled into such profound estrangement? Then, one day, it all came crashing down. I received a message from Emily, a former colleague from my publishing days, proposing lunch, a welcome invitation amidst our busy lives. Though we don't connect as frequently as we once did, we make it a point to catch up at least once or twice a year. So 2 days later, we found ourselves seated in a quaint cafe in the neighboring town. Our conversation drifted to the recent transition of my in-laws into a care facility, a topic that weighed heavily on my mind. Emily listened attentively as I recounted the adjustments and challenges of this new phase in my life. "It must be a relief for you," she remarked, sensing the burden I had been carrying. Indeed, amidst the responsibilities of tending to my parents-in-law's needs, there was a semblance of ease in my daily routine. For the first time since my single days, I savored the luxury of setting aside time for a casual meeting with a friend. As we exchanged updates on our lives, Emily couldn't help but express admiration for my dedication as a daughter-in-law. "Is Donald still hands-off?" she inquired, prompting a sigh from me. "Yes, he hasn't changed much," I admitted, resigned to his perpetual disengagement. Our conversation meandered to our respective husbands' attitudes and contributions, or lack thereof. While Emily's spouse demonstrated unwavering support and assistance, mine remained indifferent to household responsibilities. Reflecting on the disparity in our incomes, I confessed to Emily the constraints that tethered me to my domestic role, despite my yearning to pursue my career aspirations. Her empathy served as a balm to my frustrations, validating the challenges I grappled with daily. As we indulged in a warm vegetable salad, Emily's probing gaze prompted a moment of introspection. "How are things with him?" she inquired, sensing the unspoken turmoil lurking beneath my facade. I hesitated, grappling with the desire to shield my husband from further scrutiny. With a forced smile, I glossed over the recent discord, unwilling to cast him in a negative light. Midway through serving the salad, Emily paused, her expression a mix of concern and understanding. "I'm sorry," she murmured softly, sensing the weight of my unspoken words. Sophie's words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken apprehension. She seemed to possess a knowledge I wasn't yet privy to, leaving me flustered and at a loss for words. With a solemn expression, she recounted an encounter from a few days prior. An innocent visit to a dining bar near her office had unraveled into a startling revelation. As she made her way to the restroom, she crossed paths with a figure I recognized all too well, my husband. His casual demeanor raised suspicions, prompting Sophie to discreetly observe his interactions. What she witnessed shattered the facade of our marriage, a clandestine rendezvous with a woman who bore no resemblance to me. The intimacy of their exchange, their bodies leaning in close, served as irrefutable evidence of his betrayal. I couldn't reconcile this standing portrait with the man I thought I knew. Despite our recent discord, infidelity seemed inconceivable. Yet Sophie's account painted a damning picture, one I couldn't ignore. Attempting to cling to denial, I prayed for a logical explanation, perhaps a misunderstanding, a misinterpretation of innocent intentions. But as I returned home, the absence of his favorite garments served as a haunting confirmation of Sophie's suspicions. His once beloved shirts, meticulously cared for and prominently displayed, were conspicuously absent, leaving behind a void I couldn't ignore. With a heavy heart, I confronted him, grasping at straws in a desperate bid for reassurance. His response was measured, his gaze fixed on the flickering screen before him, betraying no hint of guilt or remorse. As I stood before him, grappling with the harsh reality of his deceit, an email notification pierced the silence. It was from Sophie, a cruel confirmation of her findings. A reservation at a Malibu hotel, complete with a lavish dinner, a stark testament to his infidelity. In that moment, the ground shifted beneath me, the world I knew crumbling into shards of betrayal and shattered trust. Despite the lingering embers of hope, I couldn't deny the truth staring me in the face. My husband's deception, once concealed in the shadows, now laid bare before me, a painful truth I could no longer ignore. As I placed his drink on the table, I posed the question that had been gnawing at me, hoping for some semblance of reassurance. His response, though seemingly innocuous, carried a weight of unease. For the past month, since that fateful payday, his demeanor had grown increasingly distant. Yet now, as I inquired about his missing shirt, he met my gaze head-on, an unusual display of engagement amidst his recent aloofness. My search for the elusive garment yielded no results, leaving me no closer to deciphering his enigmatic response. His nonchalant dismissal only fueled my suspicions, igniting a familiar sense of unease that simmered beneath the surface. "Off for a long weekend, aren't you?" I ventured, unable to shake the nagging doubt that plagued my thoughts. His vague response only deepened my skepticism, casting doubt on the veracity of his words. As memories of Emily's ominous warning resurfaced, the pieces of the troubling puzzle began to coalesce. The mention of Malibu, the allure of a prime-grade steak, all too familiar now, like the echoes of a foretold prophecy. Before I could censor myself, the words spilled from my lips, a culmination of mounting frustration and betrayal. His reaction, a fleeting glimpse of the man I once knew, dissolved into a mask of wariness and resentment. In the ensuing silence, punctuated only by the hum of the computer, I found myself engulfed in a maelstrom of emotions. His accusatory gaze bore into me, a reflection of the simmering tension that lingered between us. Rummaging through our room in a desperate bid for answers, I grappled with the painful realization that some truths were too painful to confront. Despite my efforts, the evidence remained elusive, flipping through my fingers like grains of sand. As his words hung heavy in the air, I couldn't help but wonder, what else lay hidden, leaving me grappling with the stark reality unfolding before me. In moments like these, I expected him to stumble over his words, to offer feeble excuses in a futile attempt to salvage what remained of our fractured trust. But instead, his response was callous, his demeanor unyielding as he met my disbelief with defiant silence. "What's the point?" he retorted, his words laced with contempt, leaving me reeling in disbelief. As he hurled accusations my way, I felt the weight of his words like a physical blow, my head throbbing with the strain of it all. And then, with chilling indifference, he uttered those damning words, "I'm okay with getting a divorce." In an instant, the facade of our marriage crumbled, leaving behind a bitter taste of betrayal. From that day forward, he treated me with a cold indifference, his indifference a cruel reminder of the chasm that had formed between us. As he brazenly communicated with his paramour in my presence, I couldn't help but wonder, was this the man I had devoted myself to for the past 15 years? As the long weekend approached, I found myself thrust into a world of deceit and betrayal, bearing witness to his infidelity in silence. Emily, my steadfast confidant, urged me to gather evidence of his transgressions, her fury mirroring my own. Together, we watched as he lavished attention upon his mistress, a vision of youth and ire. With each tender caress, each whispered promise, my heart shattered anew, the realization of his betrayal cutting deeper than I ever thought possible. As Emily captured the damning evidence on film, I couldn't help but wonder, was this the man I had pledged my life to? The truth, once concealed beneath layers of denial, now lay bare before me, leaving me to grapple with the harsh reality of his deceit. I left promptly, my heart heavy with each step as I trailed behind them, capturing their every move with my phone camera. From the moment he picked her up outside her apartment to their leisurely stroll arm in arm along Monterey Bay, I documented their every interaction, each click of the shutter accompanied by a pang of sadness. Despite the ache in my chest, I couldn't bring myself to shed a tear. Instead, I found myself transfixed by the sight of his joyful expression, a stark contrast to the turmoil raging within me. This was my day, a day tainted by betrayal and heartache. As they disappeared into the hotel, I grappled with a flood of emotions. Was this all a waste? Had I squandered 15 years of my life on a lie? If only I had known, if only I had the strength to walk away sooner. But hindsight offered little solace as I faced the harsh reality of my crumbling marriage. In the silence that followed, Emily's voice cut through the turmoil, her sudden energy a stark contrast to my despair. With each call she made, each meticulous arrangement she orchestrated, I felt a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. Within hours, my life was packed into cardboard boxes, the familiar surroundings of our home transformed into a blur of activity. Emily's efficiency was nothing short of astounding as she coordinated every detail with precision. As we settled into her temporary abode, I couldn't help but marvel at her resourcefulness. From arranging legal counsel to overseeing the logistics of our move, she spared no effort in ensuring my well-being. Yet, as the reality of my situation sank in, a sense of unease lingered. The cost of this upheaval, both financial and emotional, weighed heavily on my mind. Despite Emily's assurances, I couldn't shake the fear of what lay ahead. But as I glanced around the half-empty room, a flicker of determination ignited within me. Whatever the cost, whatever the challenges that lay ahead, I was resolved to reclaim my life. With Emily by my side, I took solace in the knowledge that I wasn't facing this journey alone. I made these decisions without consulting him, knowing full well that he would be furious upon his return from his trip. As our relationship continued to deteriorate, I sank into a deep depression, grappling with the weight of my choices. It was then that Emily's reassuring slap on my back jolted me from my despair. Being a homemaker is a respectable job, she reminded me, her words a balm to my wounded spirit. The money you've saved from being frugal is yours, and it's his fault. He promised to transfer the necessary funds after all. Let him foot the bill for your independence. Her words struck a chord within me, stirring a newfound sense of resolve. With one last glance around the house we had shared for 15 years, I felt a surge of determination wash over me. Perhaps I had underestimated my own strength all along. With Emily's unwavering support, I embraced the next chapter of my life with newfound courage. As I left the familiar confines of our home behind, I couldn't help but marvel at the transformation that had taken place within me. On the last day of the long weekend, I made the decision to sever ties with my husband once and for all. With trembling hands, I answered his call, steeling myself for the confrontation that lay ahead. "You said you were okay with a divorce, right?" I stated firmly, refusing to back down in the face of his protests. "Well, I'm divorcing you, and I expect you to cover the costs of my living expenses." His angry retort only fueled my determination as I hung up the phone, cutting off his attempts at reconciliation. It was a moment of liberation, a final act of defiance against years of subjugation. In the months that followed, I navigated the complexities of divorce with Emily's guidance, securing alimony and living expenses to support my newfound independence. Despite the uncertainty that lay ahead, I found solace in the knowledge that I was finally free. With Emily's encouragement, I embraced a new career as a writer, drawing upon my years of experience as a homemaker to share my insights with others. It was a fresh start, a chance to reclaim my identity and forge a path of my own. Yet amidst the flurry of new beginnings, a surprising phone call from my mother-in-law offered an unexpected sense of closure. Her words of gratitude and acceptance reaffirmed my belief that those 15 years were not wasted, that every hardship had led me to this moment of liberation. As I wiped away tears of gratitude, I embraced the newfound sense of peace that washed over me. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for a brighter tomorrow.